Coach, good to see you.
Hey, Mike.
So this game's sort of a little bit of a role reversal from like the Memphis game, where now you're the ranked team with the target on your back, and Charlotte's 2-0 in conference, kind of using this to make a name for themselves potentially. Is that something you address with the team at all?
No, I think every week, we're fighting and clawing and scratching for our lives, and um, the ranking's nice. Don't put a whole lot of stock into that. I think more than anything, it's recognition for our players and what they've done at this point. And we talk about being relevant in the landscape of college football, being in the conversation, and so that's great. But it has nothing to do with this game. We're playing a really good Charlotte team that's 2-0 in the league and really has played their best football, the last six quarters. And really impressed at what I've seen, especially their last outing against East Carolina. So we know this is a very good football team, big, long, athletic, starting to click for them, starting to hit on all cylinders. So we got a huge, huge challenge in front of us this weekend.
So I know that not choking on the sugar is something that you have brought up with the team. But is there a flip side to that? Because especially when they're running something new offensively, is there some element of gaining confidence and some validation in what it is that they're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're playing with some confidence right now. I think the one thing I've been most impressed with our football team is just their ability to keep the blinders on and to keep working. And nothing's changed. From the first week to now, and the way that we prepare and go about our business, and really something that we preach a lot. Going 1-0. You heard me say that a ton, and our kids have bought into that, and you see it every week, and um, just continuing to get better every week, and knowing that each game becomes more and more important. And certain things that we know we've got to get better at moving forward to continue on with the success that we're having, and our kids know that.
Scott Wyckoff. Scott Wyckoff at WBAL Radio. Coach, what's impressed you the most about this Charlotte team on the roll that they're on right now?
Yeah, just kind of like I said earlier, the last two games, going on the road and beating Rice, coming from behind, shows the grit and the character of their team, and what they did, versus East Carolina. I watch East Carolina a ton in crossover film, and got a lot of respect for what they've been able to do defensively. And Charlotte really got after them, scored a bunch of points, and it just looked like things are clicking for them right now. We're able to run the ball very effectively in the last game. Hadn't done that extremely well all year long, but that part of it's starting to click. The quarterback, the freshman Deshaun, has played at a really high level. The last six quarters for them. Expecting them to maybe have Max Brown back, who's a very good player, and so really talented football team. You look at across the board, they're a big, long, athletic, physical football team, and so I've got a ton of respect for them. I think Coach Poche does a great job with that program, and they're going to come out. They're going to play hard. They're going to be very physical, and you combine that with just their athleticism, their size, and their length across the board. They're a good football team.
What is it that was beneficial, you think, the most about what did you like about the bye week now heading into this week of preparation?
Yeah, well, coming out of the Air Force games, Scott, those games are always, really, really physical football games. And so we were a little banged up, no serious injuries, but we needed the week to kind of recover and get treatment and take a little bit off of them. We obviously practiced last week, but we pulled back a little bit. So we got some rest, got ahead in the game plan, and attack the fundamentals like we always do, bye week, and really take a hard look at ourselves. And, what is it that we need to do better, and along with some self-scout stuff, and kind of 5 games in the season, you got a lot of film on tape, and so we want to see what we can do better, and what we need to take a look at. If there's any tendencies that we have as an offense and defense on special teams, and trying to break those. And same things that other people are looking at, when they go to play us. So it came at a good time, Scott, for us, a really good time. And so now we just got to go attack this week and prepare like a normal game week. But it's nice to get a little bit of a head start, all right, and recover a little bit.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thanks, Scott.
Steve Wino.
Thanks, Scott. Steve Weiner from the AP. Brian, what's been so good about the red zone for you guys? I mean, tied for first in the country in it. What is it about playing down there and maybe the consistency in your game all the way down the field that's helped there?
Yeah, I think, it's something that we talk about having to be great at around here on both sides of the football. And so, a lot of people talk about how much time do they actually spend, working the red zone stuff. And we spend a ton of time on that. And it's something that, our players know is really important. We want to get sevens, not threes offensively, and vice versa on defense. And, I think our ability to be multiple down in the red zone offensively, not just running the football, but throwing it down there and keeping people off balance. I think Coach Cronic's done a great job of that. And it's good to see us have success when we get down there. Our kids are playing with a lot of confidence. Once we get down the red zone, we're going to score touchdowns. And same thing on defense. We've bent a little bit, getting up some yards, but we've tightened things up once teams have gotten down in that red zone.
Your senior leaders had struggled with a lot of losing even before you got there, and they seem to be very motivated by sort of their careers here. Do you notice that on a day-to-day basis of the way they lead, kind of being sort of motivated or informed from some of the losing that they had earlier in their careers?
Sure. I think it's a senior class that's learned a lot of lessons from the past, and it's a senior class that's got a chip on its shoulder and wants to leave a legacy and wants to do things the right way. And so you see that reflected in the work and how they're leading the younger players in our program. And so part of why the start we've had has been so rewarding for me is to see all the hard work, dedication, and the growth pay off for that senior class so far.
Wags.
Coach, why do you feel Charlotte is so improved offensively? Last year, they really struggled on that side of the ball.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you look at the last two games, just the ability to they're balanced. I think they've thrown the ball well, ran it very effectively. They were banged up in the beginning of the year, and we've got some players back, and a lot of new faces on that roster. And the more you play, the more settled in you get, the more you start to trust each other and know each other. And I think that's reflected in just the weekly improvement, Wags.
Last year in this game, both teams really struggled to move the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Is it kind of odd, a year later, that both teams are very explosive? I mean, seems like a dramatic difference for both clubs.
Yeah, a little bit. I think we're, both teams are, dramatically improved offensively. There's no doubt about that.
Matt Adams.
Hi, Matt Adams, Stars and Stripes. Your schedule coming up here, obviously this week's on Charlotte. Next week is Notre Dame. How do you keep the guys focused on this week?
Yeah, I mean, it's just getting back to our whole philosophy here, just going 1-0. And we haven't talked about Notre Dame. I don't bring it up. I haven't heard our players talking about it. We know we got a huge one in front of us. This is really the only one that matters. Once we go play this one, then we'll turn the chapter. But right now, Matthew, we're focused on Charlotte. We know we got to be at our very best to have a chance to beat them.
And a lot of people are talking about offense for both teams. What do you need to see from the defense?
Yeah, well, it's going to be a physical football game. I always say, and we always say around here, the team that plays the hardest and makes the fewest mistakes usually wins the games. But we got to go out and execute at a really high level. We've got to run the football. We've got to edge the football. We got to be great at our block destruction. Running backs are good players. We got to be great tacklers. We got to play good sound football, good sound fundamental football on defense.
WJZ TV, are you just listening, recording? Or do you have any questions? All right, we'll go back. Let's see, Mike James.
So you would if you're watching the Air Force game, I think it was kind of impressive how physical the corners were, especially Deshaun Peel. How does that translate to a game like Charlotte, where they're going to want to run the ball too?
Yeah, it translates really, really well. We need it from both of our corners and both of our safeties. This is going to be a physical football game. And you're right. I thought Deshaun Peel was was outstanding against Air Force. I thought he triggered in the run game, and we're going to have to do that on Saturday for sure. Triggered in the run game, leveraged the football, and tackle well on the perimeter. And when we do fit in the box, the safeties, we got to get people on the ground.
So along those same lines, the defense against Air Force was they didn't get. I thought they did pretty well keeping their eyes on the right place. Didn't really bite on a lot of the misdirection. Charlotte's a different offense, but they're going to want to try to run the ball and probably do some different things. How does that also translate well? Does it help at all having played a run first offense before this?
Yeah, I certainly think so. Obviously, Charlotte's a little more balanced, Mike, than Air Force, but there is a lot of shift, a lot of motion, a lot of window dressing, some eye candy. Then we're having super disciplined, with our eyes, not just in the back end, but at linebacker as well. But it does translate a little bit, for sure. It's going to be one of those physical type games, that I talked about. And we got to be able to stop the run against this group, or it's going to be a long day for us.
Thanks, Coach.
Scott Wyckoff.
Preparing for week 6, what are your impressions with your younger players, your plebes and your sophomores, and do you think they're going to be able to help as this season moves on?
Yeah, I've been really impressed. Here it's hard to play as a freshman, and typically, freshmen, the younger players, don't really play a vital role around here until you get into the middle of the season. And certainly seen some of these freshmen come along, especially on some special teams things. And the great thing about having 2 bye weeks is a lot of our younger players get a ton of work and a ton of reps, and not that they don't during the course of the week, but it's good to really focus in on some of those guys. And you're able to had to rest some of the older guys because we're a little banged up, and so to see those other guys step in and get reps, and it was really good work for us during the week, and they're certainly making progress for sure.
And does that help as the season moves on to maybe give a break to maybe some of the older guys that are starters in other positions on special teams, that maybe 1 or 2 guys can come in and give you some help there?
Yeah, no question, Scott. I think you've seen us do that more in the last 2 games. We played a lot more guys, especially on the defense side of football, and we need to be able to do that just to help those guys out, to keep them fresh, and to get them through the season.
Thanks.
Steve Wino.
You mentioned this earlier, Brian, just about being banged up and the bye week, but do you notice even sort of a healthier roster now? And how big is that going to be down the stretch to have had this break, given the kind of physical style you guys like to play?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think the bye weeks have come at a really good time this year, Steve. And, everybody gets banged up, right? I mean, we're 5-6 games into the year, and I think we're probably a lot like everybody else is. And we've been pretty fortunate, knock on wood, that we haven't had, the devastating season-ending injuries like some people have had, and so hopefully we don't have those. But it's just part of the game. It's part of ball. That's why you need to rep those younger guys and get guys in the game, get them game reps. And but overall, we're pretty healthy and pretty fortunate to this point in the season.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Wags.
Coach, what are you seeing out of Charlotte freshman quarterback Deshaun Purdy?
Yeah, I think he's not playing like a freshman. I'll tell you that, Wags. I thought he's played, like I said, the last 6 quarters, played really, really well. Really polished for a freshman. Takes what the defense gives him. Really, really impressed. He came in at halftime or the second half in the Rice game and really ignited their offense, scored 20 points, and they go out against East Carolina, score 55 points. They're functioning at a really, really efficient, high level with him at quarterback right now. And he's playing really, really well, and he's the big reason for that success.
You indicated that you think Max Brown will be back. Do you think you may see 2 quarterbacks, or do you think they may go back to Brown, or what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I think both quarterbacks are really, really really good. I think we prepare the same way, regardless. But they've played multiple quarterbacks this year, and they've all done good things at times for sure. But all very talented quarterbacks.
Matt Adams.
You mentioned, coming off the bye week, wanting to get healthy. Were there things that you worked on with the team, with schemes, maybe some adjustments, areas in that area y'all wanted to improve?
Yeah, I think Matt, sometimes you can take a look at some things that some things you want to tweak, maybe do a little different. The bye week allows you to maybe experiment a little bit, not to get carried away or too crazy with it. But like I said, you take a really hard look at the things you're doing, some of the tendencies you might have, and how you can break those or do something slightly different. And so yeah, it was a good week for us last week.
Thanks.
All right, we'll make one more trip around. See, yes, you can do 2 or 3 questions this time. Mike, James,
Not good, Scott. Thanks.
okay, Scott Wyckoff.
I know you spoke to this a little bit earlier, Coach, but do you walk a fine line as a leader of the program, trying to maximize the benefits of having Navy in the discussion with the national ranking, even though that it's midseason?
Yeah, like I said, Scott, we don't talk about it a whole lot. I mean, we're not even halfway into our season yet. And while we're off to a good start, and I'm proud of what we've done. We've got a lot of work to do. There's some things that we're gonna have to do much better in order to sustain the success that we've had. And our players know that, and they see it every week. And it's not to say I'm not proud of what we've done. Like I said earlier, we want to be significant in the landscape of college football, and we want to be in the conversation. And so that's great, but it's not something that's going to go to our heads at this point in the season. We're not getting any awards 5 games in, So we've got a lot out in front of us, a lot of things we want to accomplish, but we got to get through Charlotte, to do those things, and that's what we're focused on right now. That's where all our energy is.
What has the self-evaluation shown you with the special teams this point of the season?
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing for us is evaluating personnel. I think what we're doing schematically is sound, as special teams, and a lot of it's based on who you're playing, your next opponent, how you want to attack them, and what they do well. But feel good about the scheme part of things, the special teams, but you're always evaluating personnel, and that's where you get some of those younger players going, Scott. So taking a hard look at that piece of it, and how we can get the best 11 guys on the field and all those units.
And are you pleased with your kicking game as it's developed? I know you're a little concerned going into the bye week with maybe some injuries. Did that help you to get those guys healthy? Yeah,
and obviously, Nate wasn't himself, out there at Air Force, missed a PAT and a field goal, and but it was a good week for him to rest and recover. And so looking forward to getting him back, and hopefully full functioning this week. But outside of that, yeah, I've been really pleased with the team game.
Thanks.
Steve, Whiteout.
I'm good, Scott. Thank you.
Flags.
Coach, you have a chance to become bowl eligible. That's got to be a program goal, one of them. What do you think of that possibility?
Yeah, I think it's great. That's certainly one of our goals. To be bowl eligible is not one of our goals necessarily. To win the conference, to win the CIC, those are our big goals. And obviously, if you accomplish that, then you're going to play in a bowl game. So it'd be big. I haven't done that since 2019, and it's a great reward for your players and your program, and it would be a big deal.
You were talking about Nathan. You obviously had to take a look at another kicker in case he isn't able to go. Who would be the second kicker if Nathan could not kick?
Yeah, we're going to figure that out this week for sure. So working through that right now. I'm expecting Nate to be full go this week, so I don't think it's going to be a concern.
All right, I'm good for now. Thanks.
Matt Adams.
Coach, you mentioned earlier about there are things we need to be much better on. What are some of the things that stand out to you that need improving?
For our football team, Matthew?
Yes.
Yeah. So the fundamentals, defensively, specifically block destruction, tackling, some of the technique, some of the things that we're doing. It's the same thing on offense. It's always the fundamentals. Cleaning up some assignment things, some of the things we're doing schematically, doing a better job of leveraging blocks, having correct leverage on blocks in the perimeter, things like that. And just getting at each position, there's things that we can do better. and those bye weeks are the times where you can really double down on those things.
Thanks.
Anyone have anything else? All right, thanks a lot. You got something, Wags? Are you good?
Just one more.
Okay.
I mean, some people might think this is somewhat of a trap game coming off of Air Force, the big victory, and with Notre Dame looming. Does that concern you?
No, not at all. Our players know how important this game is, and they know the kind of football team we're about to play, and that we're going to be in for a dogfight. There's no doubt about it. We're going to play really, really well Saturday to have a chance to win this game. Our players know that this is not a trap game for us by any stretch.